In less than a week, on April 20th, Lexus will reveal its first battery electric, no, UX300E, you don't count, but its first battery electric crossover coming to the market. But on social media, Twitter, YouTube, they just given us a big discovery collaboration video on detailing the new RZ, so let's roll into it. And this is the first fully battery electric vehicle built from the ground up. I mentioned the UX300E earlier, but this is built on the ETNGA architecture. And Toyota/Lexus is working with Discovery here and creating it like a, I don't know if it's a docu-series or just a documentation of them building the RZ. I don't know if we're going to get a fully illuminated Lexus logo. I would love to see that on the RZ, but let's just keep going through the images. We have a bunch of the developers talking. They have some snippets of them driving. Now this is very early production. It looks like this is the 14-inch screen, but it's not angled towards the driver like we've seen in the official image that Toyota has given us for a teaser. The steering yoke, steering yoke instead of the yoke steering wheel. Anyways, they have an actual MID behind it because there's no wheel on top, unlike the BZ4X, where they put this MID really close to the glass. So we're actually going to have a heads-up display here on the RZ450E. Your drive select in the middle, just like in the BZ4X. Not a lot to see here. It looks like the traditional door handles here, but I fully expect these to be the digital latches by the time it comes to the market, just like we see on the new NX, for example. This is probably the digital rear view mirror as well. Next image, okay, there's the yoke, the steering yoke. So I don't know if this is going to be exclusive to the RZ. It would be definitely a polarizing thing for Lexus to do if they only have a steering yoke on the RZ. I think they might be ballsy enough to do it. But stay tuned because this is Toyota/Lexus we're talking about. We also have the customizable steering wheel here that mixes with the heads-up display. And it's totally possible if the yoke is standard, these buttons are also standard, and then also the heads-up display would be standard on the RZ. But don't put that into gospel. That's just me hypothesizing. We have the power button located inside the vents, kind of like the BZ4X. And what's interesting, this must be a newer prototype because we have the memory seats seemingly on the dash here. If we go back to the image right here, you can see the memory seat buttons on the door. So let's keep going. We've already seen camouflaged images of the RZ. And here's another interior image. More than likely, we're going to have the Stargazer roof seen on the Venza. And this definitely looks like a much more put together model. It's hard to say whether we have paddle shifters here or not. I would like to see paddle shifters in order to control the regenerative braking, but we could just have a button here that just modulates that regenerative braking for you. This color looks like an all new color to me. It looks like a mix between cadmium orange, maybe their Matador red mica paint color, or maybe even their infrared paint color. It looks like a sunset sort of glowy orange, but not as bright orange as cadmium. Now, we also have confirmation for the regen brake settings. So obviously it's in drive, but it has full regen brake settings. So we have at least 4 regen brake settings on this vehicle. Now, what also I don't understand is 1-to-1, 1 out of 1. Does that mean full charge? I don't really understand what the 1 out of 1. If you guys could help me with that, I would appreciate it. And I'm just going to press play here so you get an idea of the rapid acceleration. It goes about 100 to 117 kilometers per hour. And I don't know if I really wanted to break it down to the millisecond or the tenths of a second to figure out the acceleration, I could, but that's way too much time. And who knows even if the vehicle was pedal all the way down or not. Anyways, panoramic roof again with that Stargazer technology where you press a button, it kind of frosts out the window. Vents located at the top here with some chargers underneath. We do have digital latches on these rear doors like we see in the NX, so this is definitely a newer prototype with that 14-inch screen angled a little bit more towards the driver. And again, all we see is that steering yoke. And here is the front end. Now I'm hoping this is not going to be the only way you can get this vehicle. If we have two-tone paint that essentially makes the Spindle Grille the entire vehicle, my jaw would just be hitting the floor. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think. It's so polarizing, just like the steering yoke is polarizing. Could Lexus be as ballsy to have the entire half of the car in glossy black. Look, we know they're not scared of using glossy black based off the BZ4X's interior, as well as that charcoal glossy fenders that they have on that vehicle as well. So could they be ruffling our feathers and blowing our minds with a half glossy black vehicle? I tell you what, in Florida, people would not be happy with that because the majority of the vehicles on the road down here are white or light paint colors. So we have some production. I'm assuming this at the Motomachi plant where they're also producing the BZ4X, as well as tons of other Toyota vehicles like the GR factories there as well. So they're putting in all the pieces, I guess, they need. This guy's pointing out, okay, confirmation of no frunk here, which is no surprise since the BZ4X and Solterra don't have one. And do I expect that the hood will be lifted up by a kickstand like this? No, I think they'll have shocks because that's what Lexus does. So this is very BZ4X sort of kickstand here. Based off my memory, looking under the BZ4X's hood, this definitely looks different. It's not like looking at an internal combustion engine saying, oh, it's got more cylinders or it's just a bigger engine. It's really hard to say when we're looking at electrified components. And then here we go. What do you, I mean, guys, would you be happy? I like the design. I don't like this paint choice. I hope that we have more options. Now, could this be like a special launch edition? Absolutely. But yeah, jaws on the floor. I don't know what else to say. I'm sure you guys are in the comments right now losing it. On the back, though, they decided not to paint the whole thing back black. And it kind of reminds me of the Aria, mainly because of the paint color. But we're going to have a light bar that goes all the way across. I think it looks good from the back. It looks a lot like the LFZ electrified concept that I saw in Plano last year. Black roof, but it's probably just tinted as well, as you have manual tinting, Stargazer roof, but that's all we have. So with the RZ450E, I think it's pretty easy, at least for my speculation skills or lack thereof. I think it's a safe bet to say the RZ450E is going to take a motor, the front wheel drive motor from the BZ4X and one of the all-wheel drive motors from the BZ4X, whether it's a front rear combination or most of that power is in the rear, I don't know, but essentially we're going to have 308 horsepower is what I'm expecting, and over 320 pound-feet of torque. Should do 0 to 60 around 5.5 seconds, which is in line with what like the Audi e-tron does, at least in stock form. Battery size should be larger, and if you guys noticed on my walk around of the platform of the ET&J platform when I was driving the BZ4X, there is more space there to fit more batteries. So let's just assume it's 90 kilowatt hours, and we could get anywhere from 280 miles of range to 300 miles of range is what I'm expecting. Starting price, if the BZ4X is starting at 42K, I think it would make sense for the Lexus to start 20 grand more, around 60, 62K, something like that. Now the price, the tax credit will be gone or diminished by the end of the fourth quarter this year, thanks to all the plug-in hybrids Toyota has sold over the years, taking advantage of that full tax credit. But anyways, guys, so I'll see you guys back on April 20th. I will have tons of coverage on the RZ. I'm sure I'll have embargoed information. I don't know, but I'm hoping I do. And I do plan on live streaming that evening to wrap up my thoughts on the RZ450E, possibly have a special guest from Lexus Enthusiast as well. But I will see you guys down below. Are you excited for the RZ450E? I definitely am. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.